Many of us have been taught in school that our blood is blue inside our veins, and that once the blood makes contact with oxygen, it turns red. Simply looking at the veins in our arms, we can verify this, right? Wrong. If you've ever had your blood taken, you can clearly see that the blood is in fact red. The reason your veins look blue is a simple trick of the light and the way your eyes perceive colors. When light filters through the layers of skin, the low-frequency wavelengths from red are refracted and warped by our skin's pigmentation and form thin fat layers, leaving mostly blue light to reflect back to your eyes. Teachers, failing students, and motivational speakers love to bring up that Albert Einstein had flunked math during his time as a student, when the reality couldn't be further from the truth. Einstein was actually a prodigy in math. In fact, he was so good he felt school was only holding him back. By the age of 12, Einstein had already mastered arithmetic and calculus. To top it all off, Einstein wasn't just good at only math, but at all other aspects of school as well. However, we are unsure of his marks in gym class. The rumor of Einstein's academic struggles was kickstarted by a farce Ripley's Believe It or Not trivia column printed in 1935, stating that physics legend Albert Einstein failed a basic math course multiple times, and in fact until college thought that math was something you could eat. Apparently people in the 1930s weren't too keen with satire. Added to the list of myths with ties to Albert Einstein is the ever-perpetuated idea that humans only use 10% of their brain, when in actuality we use all of our brain. According to neurologist Barry Gordon, we use virtually every part of our brain, and most of the brain is active almost all the time. The old wives' tale was started by a misunderstanding of a quote said by Albert Einstein in 1908. The quote read, "We are making use of only a small part of our possible mental and physical resources." What Einstein really meant was that only a small portion of our brain is used to make conscious decisions, such as deciding what to wear today or solving a complex math equation. The rest of your brain is tied up dealing with more complex things, like keeping your heart pumping, making sure you breathe, or controlling the muscles that allow you to move. The belief that Christopher Columbus discovered the Earth is round is a lie. Since 2,000 years before Spain had even existed, ancient Greek mathematicians Pythagoras, Aristotle, and Eratosthenes had already proven that the Earth was round. The threat of falling off of Earth was not a real threat he and his crew feared. The truth is, however, that Columbus had greatly underestimated the size of Earth, and him stumbling upon North America was greatly due to that, and his poor navigation skills. Everyone knows that Abraham Lincoln was strongly opposed to slavery. He is even credited for freeing the slaves in America with his Emancipation Proclamation. The truth is that freeing slaves was actually a wartime strategy, and Honest Abe wasn't exactly against slavery. In order to make the North stronger than the South during the Civil War, Lincoln made sure that only his enemy's slaves were freed in an attempt to cripple them, which just so happened to work out for both Lincoln and the slaves. It is a long-standing common knowledge that all humans evolved from apes, which, just like Einstein's quote, is a misunderstanding. In actuality, it is a common belief that humans and apes alike had evolved from a similar ancestor species. However, that ancestor we both came from, due to process of evolution and elimination, is now no longer with us, leaving us with humans and apes, who both respectively evolved into our current selves. Another misconception about the human body is that different parts of the tongue detect different tastes, which of course is incorrect. All of the taste buds on the human tongue can detect different tastes, such as saltiness, sweetness, or bitterness. Bitterness is, however, detected by a protein on our taste buds, and not the taste buds themselves. Contrary to common belief, chameleons do not change colors only as a method of camouflage. Chameleons actually use their ability to change colors for multiple reasons. They change their skin color as a form of attracting mating partners, and they also use it as a way to regulate heat. When too hot, a chameleon will change to a lighter color, and when too cold, a darker color, to absorb more heat. Thomas Edison had invented the light bulb. Actually, Heinrich Goebel had invented the light bulb. Edison simply acquired the patents for the bulb. Before Edison was able to perfect the bulb, about 20 other inventors themselves had all tried their hand at the design. Edison borrowed heavily from these 20 inventors, until he was able to create the light bulb we all know today. Many people have been told by their history teachers that Napoleon Bonaparte, Emperor of the French, was short in stature, which isn't hard to believe since he only stood 5 feet 7 inches tall, and by today's standards, Napoleon would be considered short. But back in the early 1800s, Napoleon would actually be what was considered the average height of a male at the time. The truth is that during his reign over France, the British began spreading false propaganda about his short stature, a lie that is still believed to this day.